president says the the IRS scandal is phony. What say you?
I say that's a slap in the face. And, you know, from my point of view, these scandals are not phony. The president is phony. We've got a pretender-in-chief here. I cannot believe he said that. I don't get it. He said right after this scandal broke that it was intolerable and that he wanted to get to the bottom of it. Well, if there's nothing there, if this is phony, why does he find that intolerable? Why would he get rid of Commissioner Miller and force him to resign if this is just a phony, trumped-up something? So I don't buy this at all, and it's a huge insult to Americans everywhere.
Well, it obviously wasn't sort of a spontaneous or a stupid thing someone says off the cuff, because his press secretary said the day before it's part of some sort of orchestrated program. At least I think so. They both use the term phony scandal. What are the odds 2 days in a row? What about that? I mean, do you think they sort of sat around in the White House and thought this would be a good way to present it and basically insult you?
I do. I think this is an orchestrated talking point. I think it's inexcusable. I think Carney ought to do his patriotic duty and step down and maybe even write a book and tell all, and make him rich and give true transparency that this administration has been saying they're going to give us. I just am infuriated that they would orchestrate what, to me, is undoubtedly a lie. You know, really, the president needs to come clean on who did what. How high does it go? How wide does it go? And, of course, he can't really do that if he's guilty. And I think this might be a sign that this investigation, which is now inside the White House, is getting a little bit too close to the bullseye for his comfort zone. And so now he's going to just make it pretend like it never even happened.
Has your group gotten an exemption now or gotten a decision?
We did get an exemption. It took 2.5 years. It was excruciating for the organization. The letters were intimidating. They start off with under the threat of perjury, and they go on from there. They ask 55 intrusive questions that are illegal, unconstitutional, and that should never have been asked of an American. It completely violated our rights.
What do you think is going through the president's mind when he decided to say it was a phony scandal?
Well, like I said, I think they're backpedaling. I think they're in full defensive mode, which...
By using the term phony scandal? I mean, don't you think he knew that that was going to enrage people, that he was sort of demeaning something that's obviously very near and dear to your heart? And I've talked to other people who've been targeted. Right.
And, you know, these other people, since you brought it up, Benghazi, the border agent that was killed because of Fast and Furious, you know, the IRS scandal, as bad as it is, at least nobody died there. But since you brought it up, and I know other people are on this show talking about it, but I've just got to say that I find this doubly infuriating, since there have been people who have died in these other scandals. And for him to call that phony, ask the families of Benghazi victims if this is phony. Definitely not. Is
there anything he could do to sort of redeem himself in your eyes?
Yeah, he could step down. He can resign right now.
Anything short of resigning?
Okay. He can come clean with the American people. You know, to me, President Obama has completely dropped the ball when it comes to preserving and protecting the Constitution. I don't even think he likes the Constitution. We need to get this country back to its constitutional limits. We need to get back to some fiscal sanity. We need to get this country back to the things that made it the exceptional America that it was. And we don't want socialism. We don't want Obamacare. We don't want these policies. He's taken us in the wrong direction. He needs to stop the bullying, stop the Chicago-style thug tactics, and just get the heck out of the way and let the American people, we the people, are the king in this country. There's only room for one, and he's not it.
Would you agree that there's room for a fair debate in terms of, you know, like health care and everything else, but that the real problem is sort of the tactics, the way it's done by targeting, things like that? I mean, is that the problem? It's not a debate, but rather the tactics?
No, I think we're talking about a fundamental problem, Greta. By fundamental, I mean he believes in principles that the Founding Fathers never intended. That's why we come up with bad policies like targeting through the IRS, using the government as a political weapon. That's why we come up with a failed program like Obamacare, because he fundamentally doesn't understand what this country is supposed to be.
Larry, always nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Great to have you.
Coming up, 4 Americans